Hey there, welcome to the Gaia Daily for July 16th through 19th, 2021. I'm Adrienne Leese. Well, wow, we have had for this last week Venus and Mars in conjunction. Hopefully, you've been able to see them in the sky together in the evening sky. And they're starting to separate a little bit, still really close, but an epic situation here where first Venus, now Venus has just, what happened with that conjunction is that Venus, of course, moves faster than Mars and so has surpassed Mars. It's kind of like back to her rightful place. But the whole message here with our masculine energy and our feminine energy in Leo, the sign of expressing our creation energy, expressing our God self, expressing our true potential, humanity's true potential, a very powerful message about the masculine and the feminine, the mother and the father, healing the wounds of the divide and conquer agenda, the delusion of separation, taking their rightful place on their thrones next to each other in perfect balance and harmony. Now, if that isn't enough to just have these planets come together in Leo, very powerful message right now. But what happens is that Venus and then Mars over this next week will be making a point of a yod between a very powerful transit. It's a subtle transit, but very powerful sextile. This is 60 degrees apart, 2 signs over. And in a sextile, it's about creative solutions. It's about getting the wheel turning. It's about that flower of life geometry. And so here we have Pluto at 25 degrees Capricorn and Neptune at 23 degrees Pisces. And so these planets are in the sextile formation, which is speaking to how in the heck do we get out of the Piscean Age? Because Neptune in Pisces is about the collective consciousness, the group energy of connection to the one, and then but also how that was used to manipulate humanity through religious constructs, basically like, oh yes, there's this religious feeling and then a whole bunch of religious fear because of this punishing God, and you got to toe the line, you got to pay your taxes, you got to show up, you got to go to church, you got to do what the whole society says if you want to be loved by God and have access to this energy. So we're at a massive turning point where humanity says, wait a minute. And it's almost like, do we have to go all the way down this line to get to this almost losing everything to transhumanism, AI agenda, as we're being our organic immune system and life force is being manipulated to be able to be literally remote controlled? But it's almost like, I guess maybe we have to go far down this road to make sure it never happens again. And it has to be absolutely the agenda of the control energies that have held back the spiritual evolution need to be completely revealed to the masses. And we're at this point. And so that Neptune in Pisces is speaking to, like, how do we get out of the Piscean Age? How do we claim back that spiritual revelation? But get out of the groupthink control energy and this whole so when God and power is outside of yourself, then you are powerless, right? And this is the main construct that has kept humanity back. And so there we have the sextile with Neptune and Pisces speaking to the Piscean Age and that beautiful collective consciousness energy, but being used to manipulate, mind control humanity away from their own power so they can continue to rape and steal our resources, our energy, our own energy, and our planet. Now, then in sextile to Pluto, Pluto is power, our psychic power. It's about something we don't quite understand yet. Pluto is like way out there and doesn't totally make sense. And but it speaks to our connection to our psychic power, our higher evolutionary abilities, but also the fear of that power. And so in Capricorn, it's talking about the structures of power structures that have kept us from our own power. So it's like, this is now sextiles are mystical, magical, creative solution, like find your way out of the maze. And so very powerful energy for us, this backdrop we've been feeling all month long. And now, but like I talk about, the bigger planets, these are big players, move very, very slow, a couple degrees a year, right? And it's like, are we ever going to get through this story? And but we don't feel those energies until our personal planets come into interaction. And this is one of the most potent um, formations that's happening as Venus and then Mars, just after their week-long conjunction, Venus overtaking Mars, Venus coming into this destiny point directly across the sextile in the zodiac. Now, when you have this in your chart, which basically makes two inconjuncts relationships, it's like a V, a point, and it's called, this yod formation is called the finger of God. Now, when this is in your birth chart, it's speaking to a very important focus in your life. It's a destiny energy. Wherever the point of that yod points, it's like you can't get away from this energy and how important it is in your expression in this lifetime. And so when we take this and looking at our collective experience right now in these yods, it's a destiny point. And it's a destiny point about how do we get out of this trap? How do we get out of the pitfalls of the Piscean age? How do we claim back our spiritual connection and know that we own that free and clear? It's our God-given right. It is right here inside of us. All that power we've been allowing to be mined from us in these power energetic structures, it's right here in our hearts. And this is the human revolution that's happening because humanity is saying, wait a minute, I've got the gold. What defines humans, and especially in this earth evolution, because of our fallen consciousness, because of this, how long we've been held back, what's happened is we have this huge range of emotionality. And apparently it's like other races out there, or, planetary beings, getting their popcorn and watching us because we have this huge range of emotions as we go through this change. That means this huge range of emotions, our ability to feel, is our greatest power. It defines humanity, right? And that's what gets us out of the trap when we recognize the power. Now as these difficult truths come out into the world about how we've been manipulated and controlled, makes you sick to your stomach. Right? And that all ego death we all have to go through of like, oh God, I can't believe I trusted these people and I went along with this program. And but on the other side of that hump is this glorious celebration of humanness and claiming our power as humans as the highest. There is no form, there's no life higher than human besides source. And this is, but it's like human soul in a body aware of itself as God consciousness is the highest level of authority. So that means that these energies, these control energies we all had to do it to just get onto earth, and we all had to go along with it, right? Give our power over. But these energies and entities, and who knows what they are, hybrid creatures, they're not as evolved as where we came from and who we are, especially supernova souls, right? And it's like Oz behind the curtain. It's like, get out of here, right? Like, let's just swat these flies off of our planet for good, right? That's what's trying to happen. And it happens through truth and revelation of deep, dark truths. And we're on the verge of this. And it's going to hurt, but then we're going to be able to celebrate our humanity and come back together and recognize that it's humans. We need to stick together and, against that common enemy. Because what this Venus-Mars conjunction has been speaking to is overcoming the delusion of separation, overcoming the divide and conquer agenda. This is the only thing ultimately that's kept humanity back, is fighting against each other. This is manipulated social engineering. It's gone on for far too long, and it's going to get more and more obvious. It's got to. Otherwise, we'll just keep creating these patterns I mean, what is it like for those who were in concentration camps as souls, right? And experienced genocide throughout at any lifetime or experience, or their family or connection to these types of situations, and how the groupthink energy was used to turn humanity against. All of that agenda could never happen if humanity didn't go against their neighbor. And it's like, because of their beliefs or their skin color or their this, screw that. How about humans against non-humans? And let's see who wins. And that's the energy here in this sextile, this yod. It's like destiny point for humanity. Get back on your throne. Take back your power. The only thing that's holding, what's been held back is our expression of our true potential. And we've been so squished and distorted through disease and distortion, that we've been separated. So the delusion of separation is really about the delusion of separation from our own potential and our own God-given right to thrive and express. And this is the Leo energy, right? Leo is like, let me live and get out there and celebrate and be in joy, or kill me now. Right. And it's like, yeah, humanity, are we going to do this? Or are we going to keep playing around in these bullshit games? Right. So this yod is so powerful because first Venus at the point of the yod, the feminine. And over these last years, we've had all this empowerment energy back and forth between a whole bunch with Venus and her journey, and then Mars, and it's all speaking to the empowerment, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and these beautiful archetypes. It's our opportunity. The delusion of separation, healing that, is healing the delusion, the bad marriage, right? The bad marriage within, the fighting against yourself. This is the biggest sin. Came through in the Edgar Cayce readings, is to go against yourself. And this is our whole everything, our whole mental construct. I mean, really, it goes back to Atlantean time, a long-held agenda to very deliberately create two hemispheres of the brain to keep us in this exact place, in our feminine and our masculine at war with each other. You can think intellectually, you can think intuitively, but don't you dare put those together. Ooh, what's going to happen? And so, first, we have Venus and then Mars as the point of this yod. This is the destiny point. It's like, you guys, we get out of the trap by this. And that is the sacred marriage within, healing this wound. The exalted expression of the feminine does not take away from the masculine, and the exalted masculine expression does. They support each other and love each other, and that divine union, both on their throne, equal, and bringing us to the abundance principle, which is the whole energy that surrounds the supernova soul story, right? We've been living in lack and disconnection from our power. But the whole Uranus and Taurus and this revolution we're going through around wealth, it's like, oh, wait, we got it right here. Everything they made us believe we needed to go to them for, like, and this is how it's like playing out right now. It's just getting so obvious, the technological control, the control over news and information. And it's like, we just want to make sure that you know that we own you. Weather manipulation, we own you. And it's like, yeah, not playing anymore. And so as these difficult truths come out, that the whole facade breaks down. And what gets us out of this trap is the exalted, empowered, equal, perfect balance, sacred marriage of the masculine and the feminine and humanity in its full expression of potential. Now, when I'm talking about human potential, I'm talking about what we can barely even comprehend, our level of ability in our intuitive knowing, our ability in our own consciousness to create the environment that is optimal, and to take back control over our everything in our life on Earth. And so this sacred marriage, this abundance principle, is this more is more. we've been all taught to play small, but particularly supernova souls. You've had lifetimes where it's like, who do you think you are? How are you going to stay safe in this world? How do we own you and control you while you're shining? Turn it down. You can do it under these circumstances, and it's like, not anymore. And so this Leo is a sign of leadership, and the leadership energy of Leo is inspirational leadership, demonstrating this expression, and it's like this whole story of playing small and being like, well, if I shine, it's going to take away from somebody else, and I don't want to make them feel small, so I'll play small. And it's like, no, we need you to shine. We gotta get inspired by each other, right? And that brings me back to this, part of, okay, so the higher faculties we're talking about are intuitive abilities. And in order to activate into your higher your abilities, the crucial organ and mysteries, deep mysteries in the heart chakra, this whole complex situation. And but the way you get into your heart is this balance and healing of the masculine and the feminine. And it's literally like in the intuitive training, we go to visit lifetimes where you were in a male body, in a feminine body, and where those transgressions happened, right? Here we are being pit against each other for race and religion and sex and blah, and it's like we've all incarnated in these different experiences. We got to evolve beyond this, right? These stories can't hold. And that's the energy of this astrology, that love breaks the algorithm. This power, this time of very extreme censorship, of like reliving that fascist control that has been so damaging for humanity, and here we have to relive it right now. It's so scary for those who are aware, for those who have escaped situations of fascist control, and they're like, "God, America, what are you doing? And the world, what are you doing? Humanity, what are we doing? Didn't we learn this?" But now we have this mind control on another level of beyond what we can, just it's of how humanity is being manipulated through mind control right now and infected in this AI agenda. But love breaks the algorithm, right? So in the censorship models and the whole there's these quantum computers. This is part of the technology that we kind of know about it, but it's not really available to us because it's used to control us, right? That's this whole story. The Atlantean catastrophes were about burying our history and burying this technology, which is available right here in our own body. And so it's time to get out from under the rubble, of course, we've been programmed with fear around this power, but this organic, intuitive power within us, especially a purified, advanced soul, supernova soul, there is no negative, there is no danger. You're in alignment energetically. It's not possible to misuse your power. In Atlantean time, there were devices and technologies outside the body that represented these technologies. That's where the danger came, was through the outside technologies. But we're operating in our organic, God-given rights. And why would we have it if we weren't here to use it? And this is what's waiting for humanity in the golden age, the complete disclosure of technologies that have been used against us. And immediately there's this awareness in the advanced soul of like, oh, I have that right inside of me. Soul memory buried under the rubble, and it's time to reawaken. So humanity was tricked into thinking that it can't handle its own power, especially those advanced leaders, and then disconnected from that power to the point they don't even know they have this power. And that bloomed in the Piscean Age. And so now, if we're going to move humanity forward, we got to come back into this intuitive potential and this technology that's been withheld from us. And so in, say, an algorithm of censorship like this AI, it's like it can pick out keywords, it can do all this stuff, this quantum computing, but like the quantum computing can only take you so far. There's always this unknown factor. This is the love. This is the God molecule. This is the truth. And nobody can predict and nobody knows. And, but it is in alignment with the divine plan, with the potential of humanity, with God, source, energy, which is the highest timeline, the optimal, the organic, original timeline. And that is love. And that energy breaks the algorithm, like the love and the truth. And it's the light is already shining through the darkest places if you're paying attention. The truth is coming to light if you're open to any other information besides mainstream media. But it's interesting, all the like just as a metaphor, the censorship logarithms, when you're speaking in metaphor, right? It's almost like the Bible we know was totally distorted and things taken out and rewritten and all that. But there's deep metaphorical teachings that those control energies working through structured religion, saying that they're the highest thing we should trust when really they're satanic pedophiles, right? But it's like that energy of this love and truth is more powerful than any mechanism or false control. And maybe that's the sextile between Neptune and Pluto. It's like the magic coming back. And we recognize now we are this magic, and humanity rising up and celebrating humanness, celebrating our power, using the power of feeling and emotion to get back to God's source, to express that. And so it's like, no matter all of this entanglement of control and technology, love breaks that. I've seen experiences in my own life and in general playing out with supernova souls where it's like you'll find yourself, and it's like we're so trusting, we continue to trust, continue to be naive, and it's just so hard because you just want your heart open, and that is our power, right? But you find yourself in the situation, you're like, wait a minute, ooh, I'm being horribly manipulated, I think. Ooh, but your love and your steadfast connection in your presence. And I'm seeing this again and again where it's like, shoo, it just passes on by. Like it's like, whoa, that could have really pulled me into deep, dark drama and trauma and playing out all these stories. And somehow I just slipped by it because I stayed in my truth and my presence in that moment. And this is love breaking the algorithm. And when you speak in metaphors and those teachings, the true teachings of Yeshua, beyond any ideas of Christianity, don't belong in any church, right? But they made it through the Bible because they were in code, right? And this metaphorical energy. And so when you speak in metaphor, the algorithms don't pick it up. And that's kind of like, I don't know exactly the message there if you pull it all together here, but when we stay in this truth and just come back to this place, and it's not easy right now, and it's a really hard time for those who are awake and aware, because it's like secondary abuse, primary abuse, the abuser, those that are under the mind control program and fully have given into it, they're not suffering about it. But you who are aware of what's happening to them, that they're this soul-sucking agenda, separating, severing, seeking to sever the human soul. This has gone on a long time in different methods, but now it's like on full bore, with this transhumanism agenda. But we are, so that painful place of seeing what's happening, and then it's this disempowerment, right? So much, so you can see this vax, no vax, divide and conquer, same frickin' story, right? And it's like the pitfalls and the trap, and it's like, wait, how are we, how long are we going to play out these stories, humanity, and let our brothers be destroyed, our human sisters and brothers? These are our people. Those things, not people, and they do not deserve our respect or obedience on any level. And there's so many more of us, right? And that love in your heart, it breaks the algorithm. It just breaks the code. It breaks the matrix. And this is our power. And Leo is all about this. Leo just wants to express love and God light, and the masculine and the feminine in that full expression, the kings and the queens in perfect balance and deep and profound love. That is so much more powerful than any of those mechanisms. And so incredibly powerful time of destiny. And it speaks to this leadership, this inspirational leadership. This Leo energy is like, yeah, it's time for those whole and complete souls, leadership. The stage has been set. It hasn't been safe and really welcoming, but now it's time for these new leaders, these inspirational, no ego, just fully showing up in their truth and their light and their love to take the stage. The stage has been set, and we've got this new leaders, the supernova souls. That's you, on some level. But it's time to take the stage, is what this astrology is saying, and stand up and be in the abundance principle that more is more. If I stand up and I shine and I live into my truth, that's going to inspire you to do the same. And the sun shines equally on all of us. So my light is not going to take away from anybody else's light. It's ridiculous, right? And so in this wealth is right here inside of us. The only problem is that we don't know, and we've been kept from it and scared, programmed to fear it. Now, this incredibly powerful sextile yod destiny point, it's kind of the only thing going on for this next couple of days with Venus. But actually, we're starting to we've been feeling now this is interesting because we got this sextile between Neptune and Pluto. And then the sun. The sun right now, exact today, is trining up with Neptune. It's super sweet. It's like, go with the flow. Let's get this organic timeline going. Let's get the original plan. We know who we are now. We're ready to claim back that mystical spiritual revelation and get into the divine flow of life and out of that agenda. Now, very interesting, a trine with Neptune, so sweet, and claiming back our mystical spiritual revelation that's right here in our heart, right? The Piscean Age, the shift of ages into the Piscean Age, was all about external revelation of spiritual truth. You were there experiencing that so that now you can express this. You have this in your heart. Now, so sun trine Neptune, but then opposite Pluto. So the sun is coming and bringing another angle, very interesting, super harmonious, but then in opposition with Pluto. And the sun is, who do you think you are? And the sun is in Cancer, nurturing us back into our human power, which is emotion and feeling and compassion and love. Can we start taking care of? How much better would this world feel if people were just cared for? How hard is it? We know there's massive wealth. Just look at this last situation. Who benefited from it? We're going to create a problem, and then we're going to create the solution. At the same time, program you with a whole bunch of AI technology, and you're going to pay for it. And this is being demonstrated to us, right? So much. But now the sun in Cancer, it's like, who do you think you are, humanity? Who are you? Are you wanting to be a robot and remote controlled? Or are you a true human that's going to stand in your truth, in your source, start to celebrate and live and express life again? And that's this, so the sun in that sweet trine back to the divine plan, it feels like the sun trine Neptune, and then opposite Pluto. Who do you think you are when you go head to head, face to face with these control structures? Are we going to continue to cower in the corner, or are we going to have a human revolution? Take back our world, our planet, our reality. It's time, right? It's time. And we know on some level the scales have already tipped and we've already won. The matrix is just breaking down everywhere. But at the same time, the external controls are just clamping down, just making sure that the oppression, psyche, energy, especially for souls that are not in the matrix, right? Like, we're all being targeted. And then, but the sun opposite Pluto is like, hey, wait a minute. I'm a human. I got the power. And love breaks the algorithm. Game over. Very powerful. So we've had a little break from squares and oppositions, and now we're coming back into this energy. The other one, so the sun opposite Pluto is exact on Sunday. And then Mercury squares up, Mercury now in Cancer, speaking to this human power, is in square to Chiron in Aries. And this is the crux of the situation too, right? Because it's like the nurturing power of humanity in square to Chiron and Aries, the wounds over where we gave away our life force, where we allowed ourselves to be raped and pillaged again and again, financially, our planet, our resources. And so Mercury, after that retrograde and the complete psychic rearranging, this is really huge. Because it's like, oh, how do we get back to humanness? How do we take back our power? We reconnect to life force and celebrate this, our humanness. Our humanness is our vulnerability, our greatest strength, our ability to feel. Oh, I know, it's so intense, but we, especially advanced souls, being empathic. And as you get more and more aware, your spiritual awareness, our evolution that's happening, even though this lower matrix play is playing out, you get more and more sensitive, more and more feeling, more and more aware. And that's why our world has to change, right? Rudolf Steiner talked about the future, and you can't be in the same room with a person without feeling what they feel, right? So as advanced souls getting more and more sensitive, and our whole earth getting more and more sensitive, we can't allow this dark human slavery to continue. We're feeling it. And it's deliberately being used to psychologically control us. There's literally psychological experiments of torture and abuse. If you are feeling these things and you have no idea where it comes from, it might be things from past lives coming up, from something you experienced that you can't access in your memory. Your memory has been wiped, but it's in there. And it's like also these psychological experiments going on deliberately. It's like that same story, using our collective consciousness to keep humanity down. And we got to clean it all up. Can't go on anymore. How can we keep our hearts open and have that bullshit happening? And you feel it as a sensitive soul, and nobody around you can validate it. And it's like, what? And then to watch from the sidelines as an incredibly powerful soul. And it's like, oh, can't do anything about it. You just have to accept defeat. Go along and stand in your corner all alone. And I was like, yeah, we played that game long enough. And when you're alone out there on the battlefield, yes, you can be defeated easily. Together, there's so many of us, Maybe there's never been more human slavery, especially children, but there's never been more awake, aware, conscious souls that are staying present in their heart. More and more each day. And thank you. Welcome to the team. Here we are. Incredibly powerful army of human emotion, ready to take back our world. So this astrology is like everything in the Cancer, Sun in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, speaking to this humanness. and that our human power comes from that connection to our life force, to understanding we have that life force. And yeah, we gave it away. And is this the problem that's keeping the hump? Humanity not being able to face where it's been lied to? There's a whole bunch of Nazis out there, around this whole mask thing and everything. A whole bunch of people, especially younger millennials, that like really got into judging and telling people. Now, the sun opposite Pluto is bringing this judgment energy too. It's like, this is what's kept us all in our boxes and all separate and all disempowered, is judgment. When you judge another, you judge yourself. And that's more divide and conquer, right? And everybody, even if you know so much and you've done all your research and you're really aware, supposedly we're all still going to get our minds completely blown. We all have to have that ego death experience where it's like, ooh, I was wrong. Oh, I bought into some lies. Oh, trusted the wrong person. And this is where right now we've got some psychopath energies, hybrid clone creatures running our country in the US. And even though the lies are going to be completely revealed so obviously, they are going to keep attacking the source. When you can't go up against the actual information of truth, you attack the source. And this judgment and hatred, and it's like, oh, we're going to fight, and then just get so into our battle and our manipulated thing that's happened again and again, and the divide and conquer. We can't step back and be like, wait a minute, you're over there and I'm over here, but guess what? Humanity, we all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. And as much as we're being told that we're against each other and we're opposite and we have to fight each other, when you get out there in the real world, humanity are really nice to each other, unless there's this manipulation going on. We've evolved beyond this. We're in this very strange place because everybody's talking about this really hard time and it's going to be gloom and doom, and the food supply is being attacked, and they're paying the farmers not to grow food in order just to create a food shortage, and inflation through the roof, and there's going to be a nuclear war, and there's going to be earthquakes, and there's going to be destruction. It's like, the deal is that the way the control energies have continued this whole saga is by using our consciousness to create their trauma and drama through trauma drama programming. But our consciousness has now evolved beyond that. So how do we get over this hump? How do we get to the truth? And that's kind of where we're at right now, because the energies aren't allowing the trauma to be created anymore. And as much as they try, and now we're in this place of absolute reveal. No more lies, no more deception. This is part of getting out of the trap of the Piscean Age, because Pisces has this energy of like the oneness, the connection, but also delusions and mind control and programming. Using that collective consciousness for that group think in order to create atrocities. And so what a strange time, and yet such an empowering time. And every day more and more people awake to the power of being human, the compassion and the love. And how beautiful to see this picture of humanity coming together and being like, we were taught to hate each other, but that's not actually true. And we got to, the Aquarian Age is about a more egalitarian society where everybody, the health of the whole is by taking care of the individual. And the health of the individual is by taking care of the health of the whole. And it's a very different world. And it's going to feel so much better. And let's just get on with it, right? Can we just start now? Let's have that flood of money for those humanitarian projects. Let's get together and organize and feel the power of connection. That 6 foot apart bullshit is so clearly showing us, and no events and no coming together. It's like, oh, that's our power. The energetic field. When when a human soul goes into a light body, activates their field, their light body, it's absolutely contagious. And this is the reason for the 6-foot separation. Also, because the facial recognition, AI, technological control energies also need space between us to be able to identify and begin to control those who are not playing along with the game. Except there's too many of us outside of the game already. Stand strong and true. See that vision of humanity coming together, of that celebration of you and your people, your army. You are working on an army right now. They want you to feel all alone, but there's so many of us. And it's only a matter of time between that whole thing. It's like Oz and the whole facade, and it's like a balloon, and it's like floating there, and it's all scary, and and it's like pop. They have no power. And gradually, the money and power is being taken away from those forces. Part of this, so much honor and gratitude for those who have been fighting behind the scenes for years in this grand plan to overcome the control energies of the planet. And no wonder they're on full throttle right now, because they're on their last leg. And so we see that vision of you together in person with your people in this alignment in your hearts, and this resolution of celebration and expression of what it means to be human, and the power of humanity and the love. And see this image of us coming across the divide and recognizing that we are on the same team. We can't do that until we're shown how the control energies have been controlling us. And it's being shown. But of course, we've got so much of humanity also so mind controlled, and that they can never admit they were wrong until their world crashes down around them. And so the ego death, bringing us back to our heart and true humanity, and just dropping all those stories and attachments, right? So we're going through this in our microcosm, in our everyday life, exactly what humanity is facing. So hold tight, be true, be in that love, come back to that place no matter what is going on, and you will escape all kinds of things that could pull you down. And know that we're together, and the field of supernova souls and advanced souls, conscious souls on the planet is growing every day with more determination. And so here we are. Let's see what happens. So very powerful energy here as we come back into the tension. We have this beautiful exalted message in the sky with the yacht. It's like, humanity, your destiny is calling. And at the same time, this pressure to own back our life force, our God self, our truth, and express that. So little by little, step by step, be true, be in your center, be in your love, open that heart, and let all those old stories wash away, so that you can stand in that God light and start living the life you were meant to live. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.